So we're doing the play-in tournament predictions, really. So we'll be predicting the 7v8 and the 9v10 outcome.
Yep.
And then obviously the winner and loser, we're just assuming we get it right and we predict that outcome with a bit of a margin as well.
Got it. Are you up first?
Easy. Yeah, do you want me to start?
Sure.
We'll go Eastern Conference first, because I feel like the Eastern Conference is more competitive for the play-in than the Western is. And I might elaborate a bit on that. So obviously we start off with Nets v Cavs, and I just feel it's logical. I feel like the Nets win. I feel like the Cavs have been on a downward slope in the back half of the season. You've obviously got Kyrie and KD, being pretty phenomenal. I just don't see them losing a game against the Cavs. I know that size is a bit of an issue, but I feel like the Nets have that one pretty handily with like a margin of about 15. I feel like they put them away really easy. And then the other Eastern matchup is Hornets and Atlanta. And Atlanta's surging at the right time. And Hornets were in this position last year and they really tanked it away. And I don't think they'll tank it away this season. I think they'll actually give it a legitimate crack. But I just feel like Atlanta, with a bit of that playoff understanding, obviously Trey has the potential to go hot. And, just as I said, surging at the right time. I feel like Atlanta wins that one, but maybe by about a margin of about 5. I think it might be a bit closer. And then that would then put the Cavs, the losers of Nets v Cavs, versus the winner of Hornets and Atlanta. And funnily enough, I feel like the Cavs slide straight out of the playoffs from that position. So I've picked Atlanta for winning by 10. I just can't see how the playoffs don't have Atlanta in it after them being in the Eastern Conference last year.
You're high in Atlanta.
High in Atlanta. They're surging at the right time. They're having a good run. They're giving a couple of the top teams, competitive games again, and they've had injury concerns or inconsistent concerns. And John Collins being out for a while, I think now that they know he's not coming back, rotation settles in and they know what they're doing. So,
well, I guess look, Brooklyn Cavs. I think first playing. I think you're right. I think Brooklyn at home probably got the best player, obviously, on the floor. Probably the second best player, obviously, on the floor as well. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win that first play. And you pick 15. Look, I'm going to say Cavs are going to give it a good run. So let's say 10. All right, I reckon double digits still, 10 points there. But I think KD and Kyrie get that done at home. With Atlanta and the Hornets, I think, like you said, and obviously all these records are really close. It was literally one game in it between these 4 teams. So could have swung either way. One game went a different direction. So I think Atlanta felt like they probably should have been higher up. In all honesty, they probably shouldn't be even in this play-in. That's the reality. So they probably regressed a little bit in that sort of sense. I think Charlotte, like you said, they're knocking on the door last season, and I think, look, I think they're sort of a hot and cold team. They've got the talent. They've got obviously LaMelo, leading the point, and then they've got a deep team around him that has players that can all sort of contribute in that sort of sense. I love IT getting signed there, and obviously getting him back in the playoffs, and just they're playing in minutes as well at the moment. So I think there's that sort of depth there as well. So I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going Hornets over the Hawks in Atlanta. I'm saying, say, 5 points. Okay, so I reckon it's a close one, but I just think it's all going to be on Trae Young, and I guess if he can get going, I think they probably can get over the line. But if they can really limit him, and LaMelo has a bit of size, and some of the guards obviously on the Hornets obviously have a bit of size too, and they're not afraid to get in his face sort of situation. Get up your shirt in that sort of sense. So I think I'm going to pick the Hornets obviously over the Hawks. So then that leaves me obviously with the Cavs and the Hornets. In Cleveland, I guess, is that correct? I think so. Obviously, that would be in Cleveland. And well, again, I'm gonna go. In all honesty, I think the Cavs again. They're probably a bit disappointed. They were a Cinderella team at the start of the year. Obviously, Colin Sexton was playing well. Rubio was killing it. Everything was going right, and those two went down. Jarrett Allen went down. Mobley went down, and Bill Caesar went downhill. I think they still got enough talent to get it done at home. Okay, so I'm picking the Cavs obviously over the Hornets. I'm going to say 6 points. I'm going to say it's not a close game. Okay, but I think the X factor there is Kevin Love. All right, I think Kevin Love,
Yeah.
when he comes off the bench and he has a good shooting night, gets a double-double, really stabilizes that sort of bench unit. Mobley's back now, obviously. Garland, obviously, has been playing at like an all-star level all season. And I think, I think they're going to just get it done at home in that sort of sense. So, Cavs over Hornets in 6 at home.
Nice. Well, we'll see how that plays out in a couple of days. It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously Trae Young's the big one there. Like as you said, if they shut him down, then Atlanta has nothing going for them. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think he's the key.
Western Conference.
Yep.
Western Conference is, in my opinion, is probably a little less interesting. The 7-8 matchup's great, but I feel like the 9-10 is a bit of a dud, and it doesn't really matter who comes out of there. But obviously, Clippers Timberwolves. If Paul George hadn't returned, it's pretty easy to say that the Timberwolves get that one. But Paul George being back and obviously playing at a pretty good level keeps that a more competitive game. I'm going to edge it out with the Clippers winning that first round just by like 5 or 6, purely because the youth aspect of the Timberwolves, and the only ever playoff game that they won was due to Jimmy Butler, really. So I think there's a lack of experience there. And, as much as Paul George has had the choker mantle from time to time, he's done enough at higher up levels of the playoffs that I think he can pull out one game. And that's really what this boils down to. It's just pulling out one game. And then you got Pelicans and Spurs. I mean, it's hard to say what each team wants to actually do there. I feel like the Pelicans want to win more than the Spurs do, because the Pelicans at least want to prove that they're competitive for Zion. Whereas I don't know why the Spurs would really want to win. I feel like they're better off collecting draft assets and falling into the lottery. So I've went the Pelicans by about 15. And obviously DeJounte Murray as well has had the injury concern for the last week or so of the season. So, but that's a factor. And then we got the Timberwolves versus Pelicans, and very little faith in that 9-10 where the Timberwolves just run over them by about 15.
You're saying it's not even close. What was your margin for Timberwolves Clippers?
Timberwolves Clippers, that's close. That's about 5-10 points sort of thing. That single digit range. But the 9-10 is a blowout, I reckon, by the Pelicans, and then I think the Timberwolves come and smack the Pelicans as well.
Fair enough. You got no love for Timberwolves. That's the Clippers got to go, into Minnesota. I think the Timberwolves have question marks over Russell at the moment. D'Angelo Russell's at the moment sort of shaky. I don't know whether he'll be back or not this in the play-in. But I think they got Karl-Anthony Towns. I think playoffs is a critical time where when you have the best player on the floor, I think that makes a huge difference. And I think playing at home, I think they've started to, one season maybe is not the huge track record, but they started to really get that winning culture. I think, Pat Beverly and obviously Ant-Man there as well, they were part of that sort of winning culture, and then the role players around them buying in and just playing hard, I think. So I'm going to go Timberwolves over the Clippers, even though PG's back. I think, Timberwolves will probably win that. Let's say about 8 points, fairly comfortably at home, but it's not going to be a blowout in that sort of sense. Which obviously then takes us to Pelican and Spurs. Yeah, you're right. This one's a bit of both teams didn't even make 500. That's the thing, right? Spurs got into this plane at 34 wins, and obviously Pelicans aren't really that better. Is Ingram healthy? Is he playing? I
feel like they've just rested him, but I'm gonna just pull it up real quick.
I know obviously McCollum's been playing all these games to the end, and it's a bit hard to tell in the last few games when they're sort of just not really, they are.
He's had a hamstring.
Yeah,
but it's hard to say if it's a rest injury or if it's a hamstring.
What's Murray's injury?
He had an abdominal strain or something like that, or a groin strain, right?
I'm gonna just, for the sake of Pelicans versus Spurs, and the fact that Spurs have the best coach out there, and they do have a team that they've won 34 games, and I know they're probably from head office or so upper management, they're probably going, hey, let's go for a draft pick, but the players are always going to play hard. That's the thing. Okay, and Poppy's always going to put the best team out there to obviously get that W. I think they're going to get an upset here. Spurs over Pelicans. I'm going to say by 3 points. A bucket in it. Okay, close game here. I think Ingram sort of has been the key, but if he's not healthy at the moment, everything sort of rests on McCollum. Valanciunas, obviously a chip in and that sort of situation. And I think it's probably asking a little bit much of the Pelicans at the moment. So I think they're getting bounced early. So that obviously leaves what Spurs and Clippers in LA. And you know what? I think again, I sort of said, having the best player on the floor always helps, right? Okay, I'm just using, my standard logic here. Okay, and again, I'm just going to say, at home, Clippers are going to beat the Spurs. So obviously, Clippers will grab that last spot, 8th spot in the playoffs. I'm going to say, fairly comfortably, say 6 points. As well, obviously over the Spurs. I think the Spurs have almost had a bit of a feel-good season. The fact that play-in is play good. Pop got his, winningest coach, this year. But I think the journey play ends there. It's played at about the right spot. So I guess on that side of my bracket, on the East and the West, it probably leaves in theory, the best 8 teams. Okay, to obviously then play it off in the playoffs. I guess so. They're my picks.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think the play-in probably had one conference really embrace it, and the other conference probably this is the con of the play-in tournament, right? When you put the 9 and 10 seed in striking range, you can get a couple of dud teams. Like, to be honest, whatever comes out of the 8 seed is probably not going to stand much of a chance against Phoenix. They might get a game. There's no way that any of those teams can beat them in a 7-game series. Whereas in the East, if you're looking at Brooklyn or you're looking at someone like Atlanta, I know that Miami's a strong team, but you could humor an 8 seed upset so much easier on the Eastern Conference.
Well, let's see what happens. We'll come back and pick the playoffs after the play-ins. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we won't, obviously we'll just do 4-2, 4-1, that kind of stuff.
Yep, sounds good.
Easy.